So how do you get washes wrong? Now, if you were to look at this drawing, what you'll notice is that there is no smoothness. So there is this patchy stuff. One of the reasons is that, first of all, see, if you've got not enough pigment on your brush, now that's too little pigment, but if I've got too little pigment on my brush, there's this dry effect, and that's overlapping. It's continuously overlapping and creating all these patches all over the place. And once the paint is slightly dry and I'm starting to put something, and then I'm pushing and pushing and pushing, I'm going to get all these patches. So that is problem number one, that if you keep pushing, this is what we used to learn in school, this is how you paint. You keep pushing, 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 and filling up the space. And this is your patch. This is how you get all that patchy effect. And this is not a wash.
So can you just show me how much water to put?
Okay, so the thing is that there needs to be, at least for the first wash, there needs to be enough liquid so you can see that liquid in your palette. And you need to have a palette. I mean, I know this sounds weird, but people don't have a palette like this. They've got one little cube like that, and they don't have a palette. Now, how much water? When I put that brush down on paper like this, I need to see that bead. If that bead exists, that means there's enough water. That means I can keep going. So this is a thin brush. Now again, this is the second mistake, using the wrong brush. So even if I said, you need to have enough water, so we go back to the palette, there's enough water here, but then I'm drawing stuff, and then there's a tiny bead, and then there's a tiny bead. Now, I have a lot less water to work with, and if you're working in a small space, this is fine. You can still create a very even one. But the moment I go across the page, I'm running out of water. Then I go back, and then I start to fill this in, and there you get a patch. And then I start to move it across, and then no, this is not the way to do it. The way to do it is to then use the right brush. So you can use a 14 number brush, for instance, and you get enough liquid, see the liquid, roll this in the liquid, and now when you go across the page, see there's not enough liquid. When I go across the page, I'm not running out of liquid. There's not enough pigment there. I'm just going to mix in more pigment. So I'm not running out of liquid. I can go across the page, and there's the bead. I can go across and across, and there's still not enough pigment, but this brush holds a lot more paint. I would still prefer more pigment, so I'm going to put more pigment and more water. And when I do that, you see there's this pool of water here. And therefore, there's going to be a pool of water here. So when I put it here on the page, I need to see that. And even more. I mean, there's no such thing as too much water on your page, on your wash. So I tend to have a lot of water. You've seen when I'm drawing, it's just, this is so what an artist will do when they're doing watercolors is they'll be going, first of all, they'll be going from left to right. They'll be going that way, that way, that way, that way. If you don't have enough liquid, see the liquid, it's actually running down the page. It's running down the page. And if they don't have that liquid, that moving liquid, you don't have enough liquid. So using the wrong brush means, it doesn't matter how much liquid I put in this brush. Once I get here, it's dry. Then I go again, it's dry. Then I go again, it's dry. And then I'm going to get this patchwork. So the first thing we did was, don't keep going and pushing this stuff all the time. The second thing is, this is the wrong brush if you're going to go across the page. This is the right brush if you're going to do in this area a little bit of stuff, and you need just that little liquid, and then you're fine. And the third thing is, there needs to be enough liquid in your palette. You need to have a palette. If you've got just a little tube stuff with all those little palettes things with, and you just dipping some water in like that, it's not going to work. You need to have this space to work with. So three things. The first thing is the brush, the second thing is the pushing, and the third thing is the palette. And that's how you're going to get washes which are consistent with what you've seen.